long-term recovery. I'm grateful for my family, my health, and my overall recovery. And I am from Tiffin, Ohio. My message of hope is never give up. There's always more to your story.
Well, I want to thank you, Stephanie, for taking the time to come out and speak with us today. I know that you're going to be helping a lot of people by sharing your story today. So
Thank you. I'm really excited.
I would like to start with a little bit about your childhood.
Sure. I'm from Tiffin, Ohio, and it's a small town, and I had 5 brothers growing up. I had a very traumatic childhood. I was abused for 11 years and all types of abuse. And I held it in. I kept the secret for a very long time, which I think is why I'm so good at secret keeping, because I had this big, deep, dark secret and I was hurting a lot. I did the normal things kids do. I played sports. I was a cheerleader, but every night when I went home, it was a different story. And so I just, I was miserable.
Can you, if you're willing to, will you share a little of the trauma?
Sure. My mom remarried. My mom divorced my dad when I was very young and remarried. And my stepdad abused me physically, mentally, and sexually for 11 years. And I can remember every night in my bed just like hiding under the covers, praying that he wouldn't come in. And it was so scary for me as a child not to understand what was going on with me and if it was normal. Was this okay? Is this what's supposed to happen? It was like really painful for me. And once I realized that it wasn't supposed to happen, I started making plans to get out. And I actually ran away on my 18th birthday. I was still in high school and I graduated high school living in my car. Nobody came to look for me. I think because everyone knew why I was gone. And I never went back. I just kind of moved on from my life. And I carried all of that with me for a very long time.
Does your family know about your trauma now?
They do. I told my mom when I was in my 20s. She didn't receive it well, and she did stay with my stepdad. And it's something that is just not talked about in my family. And even though I am open about it and I share about it, and they know that I share about it, it's not talked about.
How old were you the first time you started experimenting with drugs and alcohol?
When I was 18. I was in college, and I didn't really take to it. I had just here and there touched on some things, and I just didn't really like the feeling of losing my mind. At the time, that's what it felt like to me. And so I just kind of touched on it for a little while and I moved on. And I didn't come back to drugs and alcohol until I was 28.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was because I was prescribed an opiate from my doctor. And the first time I had opiates, I thought I was in love. I just literally fell in love, and it just took my pain away. I honestly thought it was making me happy, but it really wasn't making me happy. It was just numbing the pain. Sure. And to me, that was the best feeling I'd ever had. So, I just very quickly became addicted to the opiates.
Can you share a couple of stories that really illustrate what life was like in active addiction?
Yeah. In active addiction, I went into active addiction very quickly. Within months, I was homeless. I had walked out on my job, walked out on everything I owned in a home, and was living on the streets. I can remember waking up in a backyard, and I had one shoe on, my jeans were ripped. I have no recollection of how I got there, how I got to that town. And I just started walking, and I literally walked for an entire day until I could find someone to pick me up. And I went straight to the drugs. That's what I was looking for. And that's kind of how it was for me. I floated from town to town and county to county for a number of years, just not wanting to feel anything at all. In 2013, I gave my children up for adoption. I was in the children's services system with my kids for 2 years. They were in foster care. And it was really hard for me to see them leave all the time, crying for me, just gut-wrenching to watch my kids cry every time they had to leave me. And then 2 years later, when I hadn't made any progress, to have to see them crying, coming back to me because they wanted their mom and it wasn't me anymore. And I had to make a decision, and I didn't see that I couldn't see a way out for myself at the time. I felt like it was always going to be the way it was. And I wanted better for my children. I wanted them to be out of the cycle and the hell that I had put myself through. And so I walked into the courtroom and I made the decision to give them up for adoption. It was downhill from there for me. That's when I started using heroin and crack cocaine, was 2 days after I gave my children up for adoption. I thought it would be easy, but it was not easy. On me, it was very hard. And I felt like I had lost my purpose. I wasn't a mother anymore, and it hurt. It hurt really, really bad. And also in 2015, I contracted necrotizing fasciitis in my arm, and I was life flighted to Toledo ProMedica. I had 7 surgeries while I was in a medically induced coma. They didn't think I was going to live, so they had me sign paperwork to take my arm from the shoulder. And I signed that paperwork, and when I went to sleep and woke up, I did have my arm. The surgeon was able to just take my bicep, and that stopped the spreading of the infection. So I feel like my life was saved that day. And the surgeon told me that he took a lot of time stitching my arm up, and for the time that he had spent, he wanted me to go into recovery. He wanted me to give me a chance at life. And I promised him that I would stay clean, and I didn't keep that promise. I went to a nursing home for 30 days and I used every single day. I can remember blacking out on the nursing home floor, just kind of all white stars, just had no idea what I was doing or who I was. And it was like that for me every day, overdosed multiple times. I spent my life in the hospital and jail. So,
first of all, how did you begin the actual journey of recovery? Like when you actually started, like that transition?
Yeah. So I was on probation in Seneca County, and I was picked up in a car in a parking lot, the Arby's parking lot. I had just used, and my partner had just used, and we were kind of semi-conscious, and the cops were called. So they did a wellness check on us and made sure we were okay. And I was transported to the jail on a probation violation. And I went in front of the judge, who I know very well, and he said I looked like death. He said I literally looked like death, and he wasn't going to let me out because he was afraid that I would die. He said he wanted to try to give me a life. He said, we tried it your way many times. It never worked. So now we're going to do things my way. And he sentenced me to 30 days and the Vivitrol shot. And I had never heard of the Vivitrol shot before this. And I was willing to try it because I was so tired. I was really exhausted. And that last 30 days in jail for me was something changed in me. I really got the sense that I was ready to do something different. And one of the jail deputies had said to me, what are you going to do when your kids come and find you and this is who you are? And no one had ever said that to me before. I never thought about the fact that my kids would come find me. And that kind of made up my mind that I was going to try. And I got out of jail and I joined a brand new drug court program here in Seneca County. It's called Pivot Drug Court. I was the first client. They give you a caseworker. You have to be in treatment 40 hours a week. They help you get an apartment and a job and a car, and you go to court every week with everybody, and it's just something that you have to give your entire life to. And I did. I gave my life to it, and I said I was going to try it one time, and I was going to give it my all, and if it didn't work, then recovery wasn't for me, and I never looked back.
Good. What words of hope could you share with someone who is trying to get sober?
Just don't give up. Find somebody that is living in recovery and learn from them, talk to them. You can learn so much from somebody going through the same thing that you're going through. It may be a really difficult road for you, but it will end beautifully if you continue to try. I know that sometimes you can't get it the first time or the second time or the third time, but it's worth it to stay in the fight. So yeah, I would say get with those people that can help you along the way. Call people, reach out. Please don't be afraid to pick the phone up. I was afraid for so long to ask for help. And I have learned that that is the most important power that I have, is the ability to step out and say, I need help. So I would say, just please don't give up and reach out. Just want people to know that we are here and we are recovering. I see on the news all of the time negative news about the epidemic and the drugs coming into the country and it overtaking our communities. But we are out here doing well. There are people out here doing really well, and we're getting our lives back. We're a community of our own, and anyone can join. There's no join fees. There's nothing you have to do except for walk into recovery and stay clean, stay focused, and you can be a part of it.
Well, we appreciate you coming out here to Seneca County today and to the Adam Board to be able to share your story. Your story is going to help so many people that think they are alone and that there's no hope. You are proof that there is a way out of addiction.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. I just hope this helps a lot of people out there.